Welcome back to my channel and a very special welcome if you're new here. My name is Jen. I'm a certified weight loss and nutrition coach, and today we are doing part 2 of a video that I put out last week. There were so many of you that commented asking for a part 2, so I am here to deliver. We're going to talk about 10 more of the worst foods for weight loss and why. I'm even going to share with you some alternatives. So if you're excited, give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe if you're not, turn your bell on, because I upload new videos every Tuesday and Thursday. Down in the description box, I will link nutrition coaching. I do offer personalized to you macros and calories. Highly recommend. This is how I have lost and maintained a 140-pound weight loss, as well as one-on-one coaching for accountability, to ask questions or talk with me directly. Links and discounts to my favorite things are also down in that description box. So let's jump into another 10 of the worst foods for weight loss and why. If you missed the first video I put out, I will make sure that it is linked down below for you. But food number 1 on this second list of 10 worst foods is going to be fried foods in general. The unhealthy ingredient is going to be high heat and inflammatory oils. We're talking everything from fried chicken, fried calamari, pork rinds, chicken fried steak. Anything fried falls on this list. Most fried foods are fried in really inflammatory oils. A lot of those seed oils, vegetable oil, canola oil, those are very inflammatory. They're also cooked at extremely high temperatures for a prolonged period of time. When we eat fried foods, we are prone to inflammatory responses, oxidative stress in the body, which all can contribute to a higher risk of diseases. But there are some alternatives that you can choose. Opt for baking instead of frying your food, or if you really want that fried food vibe, toss it in an air fryer. You're going to get all of the fried food vibes without all of the inflammatory oils, and you're not cooking it at an extremely high heat for a prolonged period of time. Number 2, sausages. This is going to be all of those prepackaged sausages that you find at your local grocery store. The unhealthy ingredients are nitrates and nitrites, as well as high heat cooking methods. Sausages, bacon, these are all highly processed meats, typically made from red meat, which is going to be a little bit higher in saturated fat. And while red meat alone isn't terrible for you, and in fact is something you should be including into your diet for its high amounts of iron, when they're heavily processed red meats, this is where we can get into a little bit of trouble. They contain high levels of sodium, and they have nitrites and nitrates. Nitrites have been shown in multiple studies to lead to cancer, and a lot of these can turn into carcinogens in the body. Nitrites, nitrates, they are carcinogens. And lastly, you're really roasting these sausages over an open flame, sometimes on a barbecue on high heat, and this really enhances those carcinogens in processed meats. What you can do instead, an alternative, is to make sure whatever processed meats you're buying, again, whether they're sausages, bacon, lunch meats, that they do not contain nitrites or nitrates, and that they have less sodium. If you can find a reduced sodium option, definitely gravitate towards that. And when you're cooking these processed meats, make sure that they are at a lower temperature for a lower period of time. This is going to prevent those carcinogens from flaring up. Number 3 is sugary cereals. Your unhealthy ingredients are refined carbohydrates and added sugar. There's really no sugarcoating it, no pun intended, but all of these sugary cereals are not beneficial for our body. A lot of cereals on the market actually contain more sugar than you would find in a typical Boston cream donut. That makes sugary cereals one of the most unhealthiest, if not the unhealthiest option for breakfast. Fruity Pebbles, for example, has 12 grams of sugar per cup. Who eats 1 cup? Golden Crisps, 21 grams per cup, and none of these cereals have any added fiber. Without fiber or protein in these cereals, it's really not a good option for breakfast. So try this instead. Look for cereals that have less added sugar. Better yet, no added sugar. For cereals that contain fiber and protein, a really good option comes from the brand Purely Elizabeth. She also makes some amazing granola option. And this is her vanilla blueberry cereal. This is going to be your best option for a healthier cereal. It only has 8 grams of added sugar and 5 to 6 grams of fiber. So this is perfection if you need a bowl of cereal in the morning. Number 14 may be a little bit of a surprise to you, and that's going to be a lot of these frozen entrees. The unhealthy ingredients are too much sodium and lots of preservatives. Freezing food is a great way to extend the life, but why add so many preservatives? You can get upwards of 1,500 milligrams of sodium, and in some of these frozen entrees, they can contain as much sodium as you're supposed to have in a day. Not to mention, a lot of these are loaded with saturated fat, 20 to 30 grams per meal. The portion sizes are tiny, tiny, and typically frozen meals don't keep you full. So what you can do instead is opt for frozen meals that have less sodium and that are lower in sugar and saturated fat. There's a brand called Daily Harvest that makes frozen meals that are really some of the best that you can choose from. Lower in sodium, without preservatives, and are typically packed with protein and fiber. Number 5 is going to be desserts purchased at your local restaurant. Your unhealthy ingredients are too much saturated fat, sodium, and added sugar. The reason restaurant desserts are on this list is because the portion sizes of restaurant food in general, desserts included, is very, very oversized. Restaurant desserts can be anywhere from 2 to 8 servings. They're high in everything, high in calories, high in fat, high in added sugar, high in sodium. Let's talk about a dessert from Chili's, their skillet chocolate chip cookie dessert. It has 1,210 calories, 50 grams of fat, 25 grams of saturated fat, and even half of a gram of trans fats. Trans fats should be avoided in general. 890 milligrams of sodium, and get this, 105 grams of sugar. That's about 4 times what you should be eating in a day. So if you have to have a dessert at the restaurant, which listen, I like a good dessert every once in a while, there's some healthier alternatives. Opt for a small scoop of sorbet or even vanilla ice cream to satisfy that sweet tooth without overdoing it in calories, fats, saturated fat, and trans fat. Number 6 is going to be white sugar and too much of it. Your unhealthy ingredient is sugar when consumed in excess. Now I want to be clear that sugar is not bad. You can have sugar in your daily diet. In fact, you can eat dessert every day. It's when we overconsume anything, healthy food, unhealthy food, and sugar, that it becomes an issue. The American Heart Association says that on average, Americans consume about 77 grams of sugar every day, which is 20 grams or more above what is recommended by the FDA. FDA recommends 50 grams of sugar or less per day. And the American Heart Association says if you can get to 25 grams or less per day for women, that's even more ideal. The high consumption of refined sugar, white sugar in general, is the leading cause of heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and obesity. So there are some alternatives out there for you. Look for a good 0-calorie sweetener. It doesn't mean that you can't eat any sugar, but to substitute any additional sugar above and beyond the 25 to 50 grams that's recommended per day, opt for a great alternative. My favorites are going to be LAKANTO monk fruit. I will link these down below for you. I actually have a discount code for LAKANTO, or allulose. I buy allulose on Amazon. I'll link these both for you. Allulose is a natural sweetener alternative derived from figs and raisins. It's delicious and it's very healthy for you, and it's a great alternative along with LAKANTO monk fruit. Number 7, one of my favorite things, to be honest, is store-bought frosting. Those little tubs of frosting, I mean, they're delicious. The unhealthy ingredients are titanium dioxide, caramel coloring, and artificial colors. These frostings in these little tubs, although delicious, are made solely from chemicals. The Duncan Hines creamy vanilla frosting are tinted with carcinogens, contaminated dyes like caramel coloring. If you didn't know, caramel coloring is a carcinogen. Caramel coloring is found in a lot of foods that are tinted brown. So we're talking diet sodas, sugar-free maple syrup. Things that have a brown color to them often can contain caramel coloring, which is a carcinogen, frosting included. There's lots of artificial colors. Whenever your frosting is colored, it's typically done artificially. So although birthday cake itself isn't the issue, it's the frosting we're putting on it. So some alternatives to store-bought frosting are: make it homemade. It's extremely, extremely easy to make. You can control what goes in there. You can even control the sweetener. You don't have to add any artificial ingredients, colors, or dyes, and you can avoid all carcinogens. And if you want to buy a healthier store-bought frosting, look for the brand Miss Jones. They're almost as good as what you can make at home with good stellar ingredients. Number 8, we talked about this briefly with the whole caramel coloring, is going to be pancake syrup. Your unhealthy ingredients are high fructose corn syrup and caramel coloring. Now there's a big, big difference between natural maple syrup and Aunt Jemima maple syrup. Aunt Jemima, Mrs. Butterworth, they're not actually syrup at all. They're made with 2 ingredients that we absolutely want to avoid, and that is high fructose corn syrup and caramel coloring, again, a carcinogen. It's really easy to find a healthier alternative. Go for 100% pure maple syrup. Yes, it's going to cost you more, but it's actually maple syrup, and maple syrup is a really good white sugar alternative. You want to look for a grade A medium maple syrup or higher. In addition, pure maple syrup actually contains antioxidants that are beneficial to the body. Number 9, now this may be a bit of a surprise, and this is going to be bottled smoothies. Think naked smoothies and juices. The unhealthy ingredients are fiberless fruit and too much sugar. Sometimes we're busy in the morning and sometimes breakfast has to be on the go, and we think we're doing ourselves a favor, we're doing our body good by picking up some of these pre-made store-bought smoothies. Fortunately, there's a downside to these. They don't contain any fiber, and fruit naturally contains fiber. So when this fruit is made into this fruit smoothie, all of the fiber is stripped. Not to mention these are packed, and I mean packed with added sugar and calories. Let's talk about Naked's strawberry banana smoothie. This contains 44 grams of sugar, and you know we talked about 25 to 50 being the daily max of sugar a woman should consume, and absolutely zero fiber. So drinking this smoothie is not going to keep your blood sugar in check. So drink this instead. How about making a smoothie at home? It may take you a minute or two longer to blend up a smoothie at home and take it in a glass on the go, but it's going to be a much healthier alternative. Again, you get to control what goes into your smoothie. You can even pop in some protein powder to add a good protein boost. My favorite protein powder for smoothies is Clean Simple Eats. It blends beautifully, it tastes amazing. I will link Clean Simple Eats down below for you with a discount as well. And if you want to buy a pre-made smoothie, you just don't have time to make it at home, one great option is going to be the smoothies from the brand called Uncle Matt's. There's only 50 calories per serving, and they actually contain probiotics, which is just an added benefit. But my recommendation for you would be skip store-bought smoothies and make it at home. And number 10, now this kind of goes back to the whole sausage situation, and this is going to be charred meats in general. The unhealthy ingredients are high heat combined with muscle meat from beef, pork, poultry, and fish. Now, grilling is awesome. In fact, grilled meats are my all-time favorite, but you really have to watch the char. When you char meat, something called heterocyclic aminas, or HCAs, develop as creatine, sugars, and amino acids in meat react to your grill's high temperature. Several studies published have linked HCAs with an increased risk of certain cancers, including pancreatic cancer. What you can do instead, besides just lowering the temperature, watching the char on your meat, you can add some really good antioxidant-rich spices like rosemary, or even marinating your meats in things like beer and wine will help reduce and eliminate HCAs. One side note is this doesn't apply to vegetables. Char your vegetables. Make them as charred and crispy as you want. This is strictly relating to meat because of the components and compounds found in meats. All meats, red meat, poultry, and fish. So those are another 10 of the worst foods for weight loss and why, along with some alternatives. Now, if you want it, we can do a part 3. I can give you 10 more foods. Just let me know down in the comments if you would like a part 3. And if you enjoyed today's video and found it helpful, give it a big thumbs up, subscribe, turn your bell on so you never miss a future Tuesday or Thursday upload. I will link everything down below for you that we talked about, LAKANTO, allulose, and Clean Simple Eats, as well as nutrition coaching and links and discounts to my other favorite things. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!